You don't have to be brought up with the Bible or believe in the Bible to have morals. That's like such a big misconception about non-Christians, is that we're just these heathen, bad people who do whatever we want and don't care about other people or what other people think, and we just love to sin. But when I started questioning and I was feeling God's voice, I guess, my intuition, I call it intuition now, prompting me to question things, prompting me to think deeper about everything that I was taught growing up. When the whole group isn't in agreement or the authority figure isn't in agreement, then you're told, oh, it's deception. Oh, that's fear. That's the devil. That's your flesh speaking. You can't trust your heart. So it can be confusing and like, okay, if everyone else is saying this or doing this or not doing this, then like I must be the wrong one. I must be being influenced by the devil, or I'm under some deception and I have rose-colored glasses on. And then when you start feeling uneasy about something, you start not trusting that feeling. You start to not trust your gut feeling because you've been told so many times that you can't trust your gut because someone else's voice of God in their head is the authoritative one because they read the Bible more, or they're the higher up in the organization or the church. And then the group consensus replaces self-trust, replaces listening to your emotions and your feelings as information. Just because you have a thought doesn't mean you have to act on it. Thoughts are information. You being the one who hears your thought and decides what to do with that thought, that's when you come in, if that makes sense. Or at least that's what I think. Like the whole group consensus thing is like herd mentality, which is very interesting because in Christianity you have like the body of Christ is a flock of sheep, it's a herd. And when one person starts to go against the status quo, oh my God, did you hear what so-and-so did, what she wore to church the other day? You can't wear pants to church. I can't believe she wore that bikini. Did you see what she posted on Instagram? People would take screenshots of my Instagram and send them to my parents. Like, why? Why do you care? Why do you care? I don't understand. If intuition was God's voice, then leaving a toxic church or community could also be obedience, right? Like a lot of Christians talk about I'm listening to God, when in reality they're talking about listening to their intuition, to their gut feeling. It's the same language for the same thing. And the problem arises when that feeling is only right when it's agreed upon by the community, by the church, by the doctrine, that same inner voice that's telling you to help out a stranger in need is the same one telling you to leave a toxic church, maybe. And I'm not saying that you should just trust every feeling blindly, but what I am saying is that your feelings are information and you should listen to them. Fear and intuition can get tricky sometimes, but they're on really opposite sides of the spectrum. Fear essentially makes you contract, whereas intuition can feel scary sometimes, but really it expands. Intuition feels quieter, and fear feels like when I am feeling anxious or having fear, I feel it in my chest. It feels like a really big weight on my chest, but intuition feels very calm and they're just very two separate feelings that I have now come to know the difference of. 10 years ago, I thought my intuition was fear, and I pushed against it because I didn't want to lose everything. Intuition is essentially an internal compass shaped by values, shaped by love, care, and truth, and that is why it can be trustworthy. With the whole, your heart is deceitful, your flesh is lustful and sinful. If intuition is rooted in care and love and selflessness, then like, why would that be sinful? Like, whatever. Whether or not God exists, there's no way to truly understand God or whatever that energy is. So if we're going to anchor to anything, it makes sense to anchor into qualities like generosity and love and care and compassion. So when my intuition says that something isn't right here, that's not coming from me wanting to be rebellious. It's coming from something conflicting with those values that I strive to live by. And that's how I learned to trust myself again, is differentiating the fear versus intuition, the intuition versus God's voice. No matter what language you feel comfortable with using, don't let it be used against you. If you want to say God's voice, say God's voice. If you want to say your intuition, say intuition, gut feeling, whatever works for you. Just make sure others aren't using that language to hurt you. If trusting yourself feels scary, it does not mean it's wrong. Fear tries to protect the system. Intuition tries to protect you. So I guess it's translation. Translation. Right now, I do not feel comfortable saying God's voice for myself, but I have friends who do say that God told them blah, blah, blah about where they're at in life. And that is great for them. As long as you're not using your intuition or God's voice as power over someone else to assert your will onto them in a negative way, like whatever, right? So I'm here with you in figuring out this whole thing. And just because you think something right now doesn't mean that tomorrow you can't figure out some new information, new knowledge, and think something else about something. Just go with the flow, take it slow. If someone is pressuring you to figure things out, just do that. Just do that to them. Because you don't. You really don't. Feel free to watch my ex-Christian ins and outs of 2026 video for some fun. Anyway, I hope you have the best day, and like and subscribe for more.